Good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much for being here with us. And today is we want to talking about the Happy New Year's for 2016 and goodbye 2015. So my co-host there, Jeremy, I would like to ask you a question. What is the memorable years for you for 2015?
Oh, for me, the memories of this year have been seeking new horizons and new goals, and being able to achieve some of those, and following some new paths with coaching, with both being a running coach and health coach certification. I just was notified that I passed. Just found out yesterday, so that's been very important to me to get those coaching certifications, to be able to show people that I've done the training and the work that's required, and that I can help them in special ways to improve their lives. So that's really, two of the most meaningful things to me. There are also special family things. I mean, we got our dog this year, and just a lot of special moments as a family, doing to get things together as a family vacations, things like that.
Okay. Before I go follow on that, hey Chuck, good morning. Thank you so very much for joining us. I miss you so. Please come and join us for in the conversation of goodbye to 2015 and hello 2016. Now, Jeremy, so you accomplished a lot for 2015. You pretty much accomplished what you set out to do for 2015.
Yes.
Awesome. And so the part of coaching to be certified, that is such a stepping stone. You lay the foundation for 2016.
It is. And, there are a lot of people pursuing New Year resolutions right now of trying to improve their health in meaningful ways, trying to find answers that they may lack. And I'm just very excited about being available as a resource, and trying to help people whatever way I can. It's been amazing to me, the people that have reached out to help me, and I want to be able to give something back, not only to those people, but to anyone that I can help around the world.
So and I mean, that's not the interview, but I think that I have the conversation, keep on going. Especially, I know you share with me your hope and dream for 2016. So, what is your approach in how you find those people? Are they in the people that you find that on the Black World or in your other network thing? And because when you're talking about New Year revelation, everybody do that every beginning of every year. Especially we're talking about losing weight or stay
Right.
healthy. But again, almost a parent, people do that, but they not follow through. So the question is how you are going to change their parents.
Well, one thing is that I'm going to tell people, look, most New Year's resolutions are broken within 7 days. So it's great to make those, but we also need to set goals. And I think the goals are, they're not set in stone, but they're a little bit more meaningful, because some of us see New Year resolutions as something that will actually break. So we set ourselves up to fail, instead of seeing that, really visualizing that we could succeed with those. And so, some of the people that I've reach out to or try to help are here on Blab. A lot of them are on Twitter. There are, I'm sure, hundreds of people at least that I could help on Twitter. I know many of them are runners, but not all of them are. Some are struggling with chronic health conditions that may or may not be similar to mine. But really being able to I want to be able to find out where people are, what they've tried, and then try to give them some new tools and tricks and secrets, some of which have worked for me or people that I know and love and care about, and be able to reveal those to them and be able to motivate and support them along the way. I think that's really important that we have supportive circles, regardless of where they are, whether they're on Twitter, Blab, Google Plus, Facebook, real life. Don't forget the real life connections. We do actually have those. Hi, Chuck. Good morning.
Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Chuck. I missed you, my friend. And just like, he is the symbolism of happiness. You can see, he beaming smile. Just like, light up my day, my friends. Light up my days. Thank you.
Well, thanks for such a great greeting. I am by no means a Pollyanna at all. I'm actually a pretty intense guy and pretty competitive. I'm just kind of really content and happy in my life after many years of struggle to get there. So I'm with Jeremy. He's obviously a competitive guy. He's into excelling in things, and I'm eager to hear what he has to say about his coaching and getting his certification. And what do you think the biggest problems are that people face as far as, well, you said it's kind of like every day people are making New Year's resolutions that they only keep for a week, as far as like a running program,
right? Or
less. Yeah.
Right.
As far as like a running program, obviously you're all about running.
Not just running. Now I'm also about holistic health, and that's a big deal because people, runners, we think we can eat anything and not sleep and things like this, and we just can't cut corners on important things, nutrition, things of that nature.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what Jeremy say a little bit earlier. He talking about he meeting his client where they are. And that is the key word, because you just cannot say that, come and meet me. In order for you to help people, you need to meet them where they're at. And I think, as a long-term coach, and I will tell you, people want to change, for whatever that is. They must have their own purpose, their own reasons. It's never yours. And when they, but if you can nudge, or you can put in the idea in their head, it did have to talking about lifestyle. It's not a matter of changing 15 pounds or 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. Because if they adapt it and they look at the lifestyle, that is something that have a stickable ability, for them to stick to it and make it work.
I think.
Go ahead, Chuck.
No,
sorry.
You're the subject here. Give it to him.
I interrupt too much, so I'm going to now.
No, I think that's. I think too many coaches try to. Well, first of all, everybody kind of looks at life. They look for similar things, but from a totally different perspective. I say the devil's in the details, and a lot of times, I think a lot of coaches, I think a lot of school teachers, I think a lot of doctors, people that are offering advice are so busy talking about what works for them or what they read in a textbook that they really have failed to say, well, what works for you? So for me, I saw thousands of people that had chronic pain. Sure, I can go down the list of medications or procedures and offer those things, but really you're going to be more successful if you stop and say, okay, what does success look like for you? What do you want? Ask a few questions that validate them as far as what they want and what they're willing to do and the commitment, and then hold them to that. And then from there, it's just basically questions of asking, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Jeremy, what do you think about that?
I think that's very important that we check with people where they are and, find out what they've tried and what's worked, what hasn't worked. And, it can be simple things. It could be things like, have you ever tried counting your steps? Oh, you haven't? Well, Maybe we can
Let's
put a
try
little bit
that.
of competitive spirit in you by seeing if you can reach 10,000 steps a day or more, or pick a number that works for you. But really, I think helping people realize, I think those of us that are coaches, doctors, anyone dealing with improving people's health, just helping them realize that the tiniest incremental change added to other incremental changes can create a monumental shift. And so if we could get people to take that first step and then have them continue to try to take some step every day, maybe it's the same step, maybe it's building on the previous one, or focusing on one issue every month. Maybe you focus on sleep if you're lacking sleep, or nutrition if your nutrition's out of whack, or exercise if you're having trouble being active enough, and just trying to be consistent and getting that to a point where you establish a new paradigm. And once you have that new paradigm, then it's just a constant continuous improvement. At that point, you're just trying to continually improve, experimenting with ways to do that. And what doesn't work, to be willing to say, okay, well, I failed to solve this problem this way, but if I try plan B, I might be able to solve the problem a different way.
When Jack talking about the teacher or the coaches, and they keep on with their own life experience, and that's how they see it, and they project their knowledge into you without thinking that where have you been and what experience you have, because the greatest connection is you want to find out where they at, and then you find someplace to connect with them. And Chuck is a very, very dear friend of mine. I know him for years or decades even. He look at life to like break into different million pieces and put them together, and and he have some sense of appreciated. When we're talking about happiness, what happiness it mean to you, and what is needed for you to be happy, and from where he coming from, he almost just like simplified it into the point that is make it so easy. And then if he can find that place and to connect with you and with me, we too can follow him and find our own happiness.
I agree. Life for me used to be so complicated, and now it's a lot more. I've made it into a lot smaller and simpler areas, and it's become so much easier because you're just not managing so much information and overload from so many different areas. And, a lot of us try to please so many masters, whether it's, socially, emotionally, physically, professionally. I always hit those 4 areas as important areas that people are looking outward for guidance for when a lot of times they know the answers themselves. But it can certainly create havoc in your life. We'll take, from Jeremy's standpoint, holistic living and running. There's so much information. And from my standpoint, from the pain management standpoint, there is so much information out there. And if considering the internet, it is so easy to get distracted. And, instead of having, I think you should be able to count your goals on one hand. I'm big on, they put 5 fingers on your hand because there's 5 things you should do or less, not, 55 or 500, because you can get so distracted. You basically, if you overcommit to so many things, you're not going to be able to maintain them. Darren Hardy's book about, the compound effect, and there's something by Stephen Geist called, what is it? Little Habits, or gosh, I've read the book, but they talk about making goals that are too small to fail rather than too big to fail. And slowly, as you build on them, all of a sudden you find out he started out with 1 push-up, the golden push-up a day. He did something that he was and now he can do 100 in a year later, he could do 150 push-ups or whatever it was. It was a whole bunch more push-ups. because he explains that whole thing about, and I think that pertains to a lot of things, making small steps and eventually they add up.
Hey, Chuck, and just like what Jeremy talking about, build the momentum. And again, he is such in a gentle way to introduce the knowledge that he have through his former educations for the for that type of the what you call health. What is
Health coach.
yeah, whole code, and then his own life, and then he willing and to really okay, that what I learned, that what I see, let's try this. And he doesn't say that okay, this is I know that's the only way that you have to do it in order for you to feel better. I think that is to meet people where they at and help them to create the momentum. And just like you said, Chuck, encourage them, maybe one push up or two push up and start to build up on that. And I think that 2016 will be the year with a lot of promising, and then shake up a little bit, because with the internet and the live stream, people need to do something more significant and more heartfelt than and just do it because I got you that you are my client. But now if you don't serving your clients, somebody else will. So I think that will be good for everyone to go in that direction, and knowing that the big guy is watching. So Chuck, what is the 2015 you couldn't wait to say goodbye to?
I've actually had a pretty good year. Some stress working, but I work every other week, so that's pretty good. I mean, the week that I do work, I work 90 hours at work, but I'm on call for the whole 168. And it can get taxing, and put a little, I've got a few gray hairs and missing some, losing, got some clear colored ones all over here. These are this full head of hair. They're transparent. And so I'm not, I wish I had said goodbye to 20 more pounds. I'm kind of, Jeremy might be able to help me on that. I'm stuck. I haven't eaten a carb. I haven't eaten a potato, a piece of pasta, or bread in about 15 months. And I tell you, I've been overweight my whole life, and I just can't get the final 20 to go away. And I am, my friend, the cardiologist, I did a stress test. He told me I was in great shape for a fat boy. Actually, he's an Indian guy. He said, Chuck, you are in great shape for a fat boy. Thank you. Thank you for saying that in front of your whole staff, me being a fellow physician and everything like that. But that's I wish I had said goodbye to that, but I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. It's just, it doesn't seem to, it's tough. It slows down considerably, obviously. But I am getting older.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is part of it.
Both of my kids are in their 20s. Let's just put it that way. So,
but the final 20, the hardest one, everybody said that. And
absolutely. It's a smaller percentage of your total body weight as you lose weight. So health wise, I feel great. I mean, I kind of feel better in a group of people that's probably 15 to 20 years younger than me, because I just kind of have a more of a youthful attitude, I would guess. When I get around folks that are my age, some of them have kind of not had a whole lot of hope for, they've kind of like, well, this is just the way it's going to be for forever. And it doesn't have to be. I know that. What do you think there, Professor Murphy?
It's a great point. The health class that I took was called Primetime Health. And my dad shook me up after I lost my job about a year ago. He said that you should be in the prime time of your life. And I realized when I was taking this primetime health class, I was like, wow, my dad said that. And then I took this class, but helping people realize that you can make, regardless of your age or condition, that you can make it the prime time of your life or as close to that as you can create. But a lot of it's mental. We lack the mental motivation to achieve our goals. And I think that interferes with a lot of the things or hardships we run into. Sometimes we find the biggest roadblocks are the brick walls we create in our own minds.
Sure. And the thing about, I think a good study, studying people's failures actually is, or things that have gone wrong for others, is a good lessons to learn. Like, okay, so this person didn't keep their mind sharp. Well, maybe they got a little, lost their mind a little bit. They got had some early dementia or whatever. Sure. Everything's about, they say, for every dollar you spend in prevention, you save $7 in treatment. It's probably more now because medicine's so expensive now. But it's the same kind of thing with the way you eat and the way you think in the future. It's interesting how wisdom works that way. Your dad, who's obviously older than you,
right, says,
"Hey, man, you're in the prime time of your life," and he knows that. And even if you read, in Think and Grow Rich, they say, from 40 to 60 is prime time because you have enough wisdom to know what are the things not to do.
Right.
Basically. I mean, let's face it, we're fear-based. Our survival instinct is number one. So our life is based on eliminating fears first and then going for it afterwards. So when I think about 2016, I think, what am I afraid of for 2016? What am I afraid is going to happen if I don't do that? So do I still go to the gym 6 days a week? Absolutely. Well, I try to. When I'm working, it's a lot more difficult because their schedule and my schedule don't necessarily. I go to the YMCA, which closes at 9 p.m. So and the other gym where I work closes at 9 p.m. So that's tough. So maintaining my health, maintaining my brain, and doing all the things that my potential peak performance partner Ha Tran tells me I must be doing.
I know you teasing me, but Chuck, when you're talking about something to hope for, I don't know who said that, but they said that you go through life, you need to have something to looking forward for, something to love, and something to hope for. And I think you hit all that. So for 2016, I know that the book in the making.
Awesome.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Share with the world. What is the title of your book?
Oh, stop. You've got to quit doing this.
Don't reveal the title. You don't want somebody to steal it. At least don't reveal it publicly.
No, and then go in and to buy the URL.
Okay.
Yeah, you told me that. Somebody else told me that. I happened to give a ride to the airport to Lois Creamer, who's out of St. Louis. She's a big.
Oh yeah,
she talks about how to make more money speaking. She's big and she's got but she's the type of person I like. She's very front and center. She's like, you know what? That's a stupid idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. No, don't do that. That's what I like. I don't like all this. If you get your mindset aligned with your intention along the third axis of the fourth meridian, then maybe if you keep telling yourself everything, I don't want that. I want somebody, I want somebody to say, I want Ha to say to me, Chuck, that is stupid. What are you doing? You're wasting your time. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
No, I know that you live your life to the fullest. You live your life full of adventure. Therefore, I think that whatever you produce, something that somebody can learn from, and just like the title, enough to have me pick up the book and just say, "What is this Chucky talking about?" And that is.
Well, hopefully, Jeremy, I am actually speaking at a master's level class at a university. It's not confirmed on paper, but in June, I believe it is. And I'm hoping that my book's completely published and out by then. That's the goal. Good. To get it, completed. I have a publisher and everything. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
I just want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
See,
and you do it so willingly, and people aren't having to twist your arm to do it. And some people don't want to help people. They do have to have their arm twisted, or have someone say, "Look, you can help this person. I know you don't think you can, but you have that capacity." So
you got to. The thing about it is you have to stick. And everybody listening or now or on the replay, there's so much more possible than you could ever, how many if onlys do we say? Or I call them phonelys. I take out the I, if only, if only. I mean, the people that you would think are the most successful people in the world, the Richard Bransons, Tony Robbins, so many different people, so many famous people that they will all tell you, if only I did this, or if only I did that. And it'll come to happiness or feeling successful in one of those four areas, I think: socially, emotionally, physically, or professionally. So, everybody's got so much more they can deliver. And I wish somebody had I've had a couple people that have really influenced me over the years that kind of projected expectations onto me, like, come on, dude, you certainly can do better than that. And that was more kind of from a professional standpoint, but from a physical and an emotional standpoint, I didn't have a whole lot of that. And I had to take a lot of it on myself, which is was part of my journey, but it's also me being also a physician. It's also part of the reason why I want to help anybody that wants to be helped. But I'm pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I feel very blessed, and then again, very proud to associate with you both, because you guys have such a good intention. You want you help people, and again, you just put it out there, and if people embrace it, good for them. If they don't, then you still benefit. Someone will benefit from your wisdom, and that's why I think that carry on, just make it happen, because you never know. Because see, Chuck, I'm talking about the benefit of the benefit. You change one life. That man or that woman change their partner, their family, the community they live in. You talking about you make the difference in one person's life, and you indeed can change the world. You can help tens of millions of the people out there. And having said that, it doesn't mean that I think that I have done such an awesome job.
Oh, you're awesome.
But my sponsor, when they sponsor our family, they just hoping that, to help somebody get out the refugee camp and do whatever. But, the fact that, I carry on, I have 4 children, I have each one of my children married, they have children. The root is here, and, and the only way from here is just blossom. And I'm very proud of my family. And I truly believe that my sponsor, they didn't know that they're helping me, but they indeed have, impact on millions of the people that our life happen to be touch other people's lives. So don't sell yourself too small. You have good intention. Just carry on, because that's a good deed, my friends. Because you guys have such a great experience, and sometimes that people can identify with that, and they just say, "Oh, if Jeremy or Chuck can do it, I too can do it." No, seriously.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. If the stuff that from where I was to where I am now, if I could do it, then I pretty much think almost anybody can. The thing about it is you got to, everybody desires certain things, but you got to make that decision, and you got to act on it, and you got to persist. Persisting is the hardest part. Boy, I tell you, hanging in there and having That's the whole thing behind faith. So, anybody who chooses anything as far as their goals, are they committed, first of all, and then having the faith. And a lot of times breaking that commitment is not having the faith in yourself. It's a couple of things. You don't have enough faith in yourself that you're going to complete it, or you really don't want it that much anyways, or you're comfortable where you're at.
Yeah, do not let yourself stand on your ways, because you are the bottleneck itself. And sometimes that you are the person that your own worst enemy. You are the person that's stopping you from doing what you want to do, and from accomplish the thing you set out to accomplish. Sometimes that you have to ignore you. Just say, hey, I hear you, dismiss, and then move on. So that is 2015, and then you have nothing to say goodbye to, but because the calendar just happened to turn the page, and then you go to the 2016. What are you hope for 2016, Chuck?
What do I hope for? Mm-hmm. Well, I hope to work less at my scheduled job and work more of my passionate job, which is kind of as a writer, as a speaker and a writer, coach/mentor. I would like to do a lot more of that this year, because, it got to a point, my kids are in college, I don't have a whole lot of debt, and I can do the things more that I want to do rather than the things that I have to do. And that's what I look forward to in 16, is getting more to the ideal, that, that vision of where I want my life to go.
Okay.
How about you, Jared?
Wait, let me add on that. So now, you have the thing that I'm happy because that, and now I suggested you add on, say, good to be me. Check.
Well, I don't want to boast. I want everyone to be good, to be themselves. I want
good to be you.
Yeah, but I want you to be able to say that. I want to say that, but I want everybody else to be able to say that as well.
Okay,
I'm happy. I'm successful. I'm where I want to be. I want more because I like what's going on, but I want more of this. Same. I would wish that for anybody. How about you, Jer?
Yeah, back to you, Jeremy.
Well, I want to get this positivity course, finish the editing of it and get it released. And I also want to finish this Positivity Patrol book. I think if I can capture my creativity on paper, I'll be able to unleash it better. And I want to make the Positivity Patrol, instead of it just being me, I want to get maybe hundreds or thousands of other people involved. I think it can help a lot of people, but it's going to take some work to explain what it is and figure out how we can do a lot of it virtually to get people help around the world. So I'm hoping to do a lot more business online too. There are a lot of people that need my help that I am not geographically close to. I'd love to be in Ireland, but I can't go there every week. So
you can virtually.
But some of the people that have asked for my help, that's where they are. They're in Europe or elsewhere. So
I think in Europe there's more of an attitude or an accepting of, I could be more positive. I think in the U.S. sometimes it might be seen as a sign of weakness, maybe, when in fact, as it's really a sign of strength.
True.
To say, I want to improve things, and those are people taking active steps. Why wouldn't anybody want to take active steps towards what they want rather than complaining about what they don't want?
True.
You consider, you reminded me, I read a book once. Well, I didn't get too far into it, but it was called Negaholics.
Negaholics. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna write it down.
But it was a very depressing book. There wasn't a whole lot of positivity in the Negaholic. It just talked about how people, there are people that are just so negative about so many things. And my take on that is the fact that, when you're negative about other things, sometimes it makes you relatively feel better about what you have. It's kind of an emotional crutch almost to, if I complain about something you're doing or someone around me, maybe I don't stick out so much as bad or not, or less valuable.
True.
I can just kind of mix in with the crew.
I think that people tend to have a victim mentality.
They do.
And if they look into, what is good in their life, they certainly will find a thing that is good about their life that to celebrate for. But again, they tend to looking in something that they lack of. And again, that is. Because somebody would just say, "Oh, poor you," and then they would just listen to you more. And I don't know why people addicting to the victim mentality. Because when they say something and then they say, "Hear me cry," people will stop and to listen to them. And I hope not hoping, but again, people feel like, oh, I'm so glad that happened to him. So let me hear what is what is so going on in his life, and something he's so unhappy about. And somebody said to me one time that don't tell the people your problem. Because 95 people don't care, and 5% that glad that's you, not them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that victimization is a big part of. You just want. Sit back and watch. Just sit back and watch and take it all in and say, why did they say that? Why do they say that? I think that a lot of times people are making a value statement about themselves when they become the victim, or they say something negative. Is it, like somebody making a positive statement? I think Jeremy saying something positive about Yuha is a value statement towards him. He's a higher value guy because he can find something positive. Wow. And I really think that that's what people are looking for in life. They want to, it's really a relative value scale. Okay. If I am a victim, then my relative value actually goes up. So if I can find someone else to blame for my shortcomings, so to speak, or things that I don't see as valuable, maybe in the relative scheme of things, that makes me more valuable. But if I cut you down, if I become negative about Tony, and for some reason, I think it says more about something about me, about, if I personalize it, it makes me get lower relative value than Tony. But how Tony responds to that says something about what his value is. And really, it's part of your positivity and your self-confidence and your willingness to accept the fact, the humility with the fact that actually you're in control. In the end, you're in control. Your circumstances don't control you. Your responses to your circumstances control you. So you have a lot of influence over the things that happen to you based on your positivity. Yeah, Jeremy, have you ever read As a Man Thinketh?
I haven't. No.
It's a short book. It's a good read. On audiobook, it's less than an hour. And there's a thing, it says on thought and character and on thought and circumstance. And that's a lot of that. The book is 100 years old.
Wow.
And he talks about just that, the fact that, your circumstances, how people handle their circumstances. You can't control your circumstances, but you can control your response. It's really, I'm big onto, it talks about personal accountability. So you get some accountability built in there for your thing.
I like that book too, because, and again, you control the controllable, and you take the ownership of your own actions, and like many times that I mentioned, you have a freedom to making any decision you want. However, you're never free. You're free to make any decision you want, but you're never free of the consequences of your own decisions.
Sure, and that would be a great goal for 2016 to say, you know what? It's a great way you put it. I'm going to control what I can control,
Mm-hmm.
and let things I can't control go. I'm not going to make personal things that are beyond my control. Stuff happens.
I think that saved me from a lot of things in recent years, because I don't take the ownership of something that I have no control over. And that take a lot
Right.
of stress away from me. So 2016 is the years of with potential and promising, and when I'm going around and tell people that I know Chuck, I know Jeremy, I know Tony, I say with such a self-esteem, because knowing you guys, that make me feel so proud to associate with you, and you guys are great people, and keep up the good work, because if anybody have to do something good in the world, it's got to be you. And to the people that who with good intention, and don't just think about it, do it. Thinking only nothing going to happen, you must do.
I would, you know what? I'm looking at who's here right now. Since
Yeah.
Tony doesn't want to come on, Christine. I would hope Christine would come on, because she is working on her first startup, and it would be great to hear
Cool.
what Christine has to say about 2016. Since she's on a startup, it'd be great to share her, depending on what her startup is. Maybe it's Visage Payroll. She may want to share. I'm just trying to bring more people into the conversation.
There you go. Yeah, because the more the merrier, and the more that we can, because everybody have a story, and I love to meet new people with their new story. So
Christine's working.
so Jeremy, what is your intended outcome for 2016?
It's kind of a deep question. I really want to be able to help people and transform lives. I feel like I have a lot of potential, and now I maybe have some understanding of what I can do with it. So I want to be able to reach out and help people with it, figure out who I can help and how, and try to find ways to deliver that help in person and virtually.
Yeah. Well, if you need someone to hold your feet to the fire on all that stuff, send me a Twitter message.
Okay.
I will help hold your feet to the fire. I know, as Ha calls it, the peak performance partner. But
Yes,
I would say that I want to keep you hold your feet to the fire while keeping you out of the fire.
And that's tough for a fiery person too. But anyway, are you holding up a book? What is that?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, as
As
a
a
man
man
thinketh.
thinketh.
Okay.
How many pages is that, Ha? I mean, it's not very long.
72 pages, but again,
See, there's the forward's real short, and then it says on thought and circumstance, on thought and character.
If you are interested, I will send you the PDF one.
Sure.
And
Okay.
you can get the PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, I will send you a PDF copy.
Thanks.
It's a short read that says so much. And actually, one of the chapters, the middle chapter, I think it's 4 or 5, is on thought and health. So you would probably be interested in that.
Yeah, and I like the one about integrity, because it means everything. Serenity is also good. So, but
the last one's on serenity.
Yeah, that chapter is really good. I am glad that 2015 is a good year for everyone. Even though that it's a good year, we do not want to hold back or to live back the 2015. 2016 is a moving forward, and you have to look into that direction, because you not go this back way.
So Ha, you are always so positive. I want to go the other direction with you. In 2016, what are the things that are going to hold me and Jeremy and anybody else back? What are the things that hold people back from getting what they want in 2016 or anytime?
I always, of any time, I think that the thing that's holding you back is you. It is simple as that. Let me see that again.
My daughter goes to UNC Charlotte, so
Yeah.
she got me this huge sweatshirt. It's huge.
And then you look very beautiful in green too. Just
thanks.
match
It's a
the
good color.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for at any time at all, the thing holding you back is you. Because
Okay, but what type of things? You just say you. You're not giving me anything specific. Well, what are the specific things that I do that most people do that hold? And I don't know the answer. I'm not. This isn't a quiz. I'm not Alex Trebek or whatever. I just want to know from you. You're pretty insightful, and you're well read, as well as same for you, Jer. What?
Yeah,
what
so
do you-
in order for me to answer the question, let me ask you a question. What are you anticipate that 2016 will be 16 will be the hiccup for you, and what is you need to using as a momentum, the stepping stone for you to move forward?
Jeremy, did she go to law school also? Because she just turned
did
my
study
question
law.
around on me.
Now, she did study law, so I got to give her some credit. She picked up on the Socratic method maybe more than we think.
Yes, she answered a question with a question. Now let me see if I can think of a third question.
I have a question.
you
No, I
yourself.
have an answer. But
Okay,
Tell
go
me.
ahead. Give me the
another
answer.
question. But I'll throw out an answer. And for me, I think it's been false limiting beliefs. We have these fictions in our heads that we feel we can't do something, or we're dreaming too big, or we're being unrealistic, or things like that. And I mean, a lot of those thoughts are baloney. And if we don't sweep them out, they accumulate and they stack up. And then you have a brick wall of false limiting beliefs. And so I've just had to start sweeping them whenever I see them accumulate or notice that they are. I just try to let them go. And, for me, that's been an obstacle that, once I've become aware of it and trying to flush it and sweep it away constantly, it helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, that to flush out of the negative, how you say that again?
Negativity.
Out of your mind, and to rearrange, and then to clear off your mental desk, because this is, your mind is just like a computer. Now I don't know, but again, here at I make believe that I know what I'm talking about. When your computer
And
with
she
a lot
does.
of things in it, it not function very well, right? Because everything jam up. But if you clear it up, the modem or everything is function or moving a little bit faster, right? So because if our mind jam packed with the stuff, we don't have room for anything new, for us to the space to maneuver. But again, and then especially you have something that's so obsolete, so out there, so stale to just occupy the place, but not stay in your head, but didn't do anything. Remove it, put in the hard drive, or flush it down to the toilet, because you need to work with what you have, and you need to work with the best you have. So now back to you, sir, Chuck.
Oh, geez. Yes. To Jeremy's point, I think a lot of people will not do things because I think that I think people know themselves better than they think, and there's a lot of clutter on their desktop, and they almost say they don't want to do something because they know there's so many different things that come into play. Like I said, a lot of us want categorically very similar things, whether it's being happy or successful. And that's a different definition for every person, because every person's details of their life are so vast and different. your details from your life are so different than Jeremy's, than mine, than Tony's, than Rocco's, than Christine's.
And some people don't want to let go because they want to have in their pocket, because they want to pull it out at the time the time they need. Just say, oh, I cannot get this because of this and that. Sometimes people don't want to let go because they want to use that as a lever. They want to put in their pocket when they need it, and that is something that they blame for. And if you hear people talking about their parent, their past or something, that's something, I apologize if I say something, I step on somebody's toes. But, sometimes people like to hold on that because they don't want to let go. Because
Sure. My sister once said a very good thing to me once, and I was probably, a long time ago, complaining. She said to me, is that your reason or is that your excuse? And she kind of gave me a little bit of a hard time. She said, sounds like it's an excuse for not getting something done rather than the reason for not getting something done. And that's, that's what I'm talking about. And a lot of people, you'll come up with every excuse in the book because it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't make you guilty, but it doesn't, or I shouldn't say it doesn't make you innocent, but at least it doesn't make you guilty. You're somewhere in the ether, in the middle. It's like everybody wants to be right, but in our world, they'll accept not being wrong. So I'm somewhere in the mix. I'm in the middle of everything. And that's where I think the victimization thing comes in and why people make excuses, because they don't want to be seen as bad, but they're okay with not necessarily being seen as good, as long as, think about politics. And it's the politics of personality. If I can imply that I'm not bad, well, then the binary opposite of that is, well, then maybe people will think I'm good if I'm not necessarily bad. It's the president and every other politician out there for the last 1,000 years does the exact same thing. Even Richard Nixon said, what did he say? I'm not a crook, or I'm not, whatever he said.
I'm not a crook.
So
right.
I'm not a crook. And so he's implying that he's somebody virtuous, when in fact, well, you're a politician. You're probably a crook. Sorry, I just, I'm not a big politics guy. I'm stuck in the middle, and I don't want to talk about politics. But I think it's important, though, to talk about what people's excuses / reasons are for not being successful or not getting things done. Because if you don't bring that into the awareness, if you do not put that on the table, then it always makes them available as a excuse that becomes a reason for bailing out on, hey, I want to run a half marathon. And Jeremy says, okay, well, that's going to be 9 months from now, based on what you're running now and the way you're eating and the 30 pounds you got to lose or whatever. And you've got to talk about all the things that they shouldn't do to get those off the table, because then you create an accountability later that says, hey, what's going on? You're the one who identified the fact that you shouldn't be doing this. So let's do this instead.
True.
Here's Jeremy's the coach. I'm going to give you an alternative to, going and eating 4 pizzas in a sitting, and skipping, running a half a mile instead of the 4 that was on your schedule. I think that's the important part of pointing out. I like to look at why people didn't do things. I like to see what their excuse was for why they didn't do it. So you can kind of say, now, wait a minute. You said that you wanted this. You wanted to send Jeremy as a man thinketh PDF. Mm-hmm. You said that was a good thing for him. Why didn't you do that? There's no way out other than accepting the accountability and the responsibility to do it. Because frankly, you're much more capable than that. You've got a lot more going for you, and you should be able to do that. Because after all, what do you do when you say you're going to do something and then you don't? You devalue yourself. You make yourself not as valuable to people you interact with. You're better off to not promise than not deliver. I have my best friend. He will promise it's a joke amongst all my friends I grew up with. Oh yeah, he won't show up. Yeah, he says he's coming, he won't show up. Yeah, but he still does it. He still, he breaks that marketing rule of, don't overpromise and underdeliver.
To me, a promise is a promise to deliver, not a promise just to promise. And Chuck, your sister is a wise lady, and people you hear when they certain thing that people don't do, or because they didn't get to where they needed to do, they will start to tell you story. Now the question is, you listen to their story and you said, okay, when is the story is meant to explain something, but when the explanation stop and the excuse come on, and then people keep on they tell the story why they didn't just do a certain thing, and they become an excuses. If they adapt that and excuses why they didn't do the thing that they supposed to do. So I think that we might be behave like that at time, but if we know that and we try to avoid it, I think that will be good, because when you give too many excuses, who want to buy in your excuses?
A lot of people, their excuse, like for me, I have friends that say, oh, you must have been working, you must be tired from working all those hours. And it's great because they're making the excuse for me. But that's going to be my excuse for this year. I'm going to try to overcome that and work through fatigue and stuff like that. But, I'm big on reputation. What is your reputation? What's your reputation in your own family? Like my dad had a terrible reputation in our family amongst his 10 children and his wife. He didn't have a great reputation, but his reputation ruled his world. And so sometimes people that throw a lot of excuses out there, that becomes their reputation. They have a reputation of being either untrustworthy or unreliable. What was it? Christine is starting her own startup. She's got her payroll startup. Everything for her over the next few years is reputation, reputation, reputation. If you've got a short-lived reputation, you can kill it in a second. If you've got a long-viewed reputation, it's hard to kill it. People will give you the benefit of the doubt if it's a long-viewed good reputation. If you have a long-viewed bad reputation, people won't give you the benefit of the doubt when you do something nice. They're just waiting for you to trip back into that old set pattern that you have. And I guess I will view 2016 as my own startup. Okay, I'm going to be my own new company Chuck for 2016. Now I have to work on the reputation I have and build from there, and hopefully create one of reliability, trust, and value, because that gives me more personal equity or capital to make investments in myself and in others. And in return, when a business does well, when a startup does well, what ends up happening? Somebody comes in and buys in to that philosophy and that theory, and all of a sudden you get a compounding effect from your reputation. Now, if you have a bad reputation, you also get a compounding effect, because you know what? A lot of the losers latch on to the other losers, and then they try to make up an excuse for whose fault it was when things went bad.
True.
But I want to, so I listen to you, Ha and Jeremy, and I think those are people that have a great attitude. They're not super expecting, they're not doing unrealistic things. Those are people that I want to help my reputation bounce along with my reputation, call me out when I'm doing something that's inconsistent with what I want to do, and also help me to keep going in the direction that I want to go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, make perfect sense. And again, with nowadays, you are your walking billboard. I mean, just
Sure.
whether you want to say or not saying, and you are just like people read into what they see, and your representation is what other people see you, not so much about what you want them to see. So, however you demonstrate, however you show up, be consistent.
I agree. I'm
You
just
know.
copying and pasting Greg's post there. Commiserating with misery is toxic. I like it.
Jeremy, I like Chuck very well, and I hope that he liked me too because we read the same book too. I read the Compound Effect, and I read the Roller Coaster from Darren Hardy, and and then we were talking about, he is maybe 2 decades my junior, but again, he is like so wise.
Darren Hardy, yeah, he's a smart boy.
I mean, you.
Me? I'm like 3 years younger than you.
Oh, I don't know about that. Okay, so we just about to wrap up. Jeremy, 2016, what is for you?
I think it's going to be a promising year. It's a year of possibilities and opportunities, and I think some doors are opening right now, and it's just a matter of prioritizing how many of them I can walk through at once. I think Chuck's advice about maybe having as many goals as you can fit on one hand is a good one. I think we have to focus on essentialism a little bit and whittle down our goals to being realistic. But I do have at least three or so doors that I want to be able to walk through with coaching and being able to help people and getting some of my creative projects finished. So that's what I'm hoping to do, to be able to help people and transform their lives in a powerful way.
Yeah, this morning I did a presentation for Charlene Group for the networking group, and I talking about do the one-page business plan. I think that if you need me to send you guys some stuff, I'm more than happy to, because one-page business plan, that is something that you can review daily and take any time, like about 5 minutes, just to remind you of your mission statement, your vision statement, and what your commitment to the 2016. And you break that and slice and dice it into small bits and pieces from the goal of 5 years, and then you can go down to 1 year, 1 quarter, 1 month, or 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's doable, and that's how we don't have time to do everything, but we certainly have time to do something that's important. If that's something important for you, get your time and gear up and set your priority and do it, because don't take time to give me all excuses. Take time to get it done. That is my thought for 2015 and 2016. I continue to do what I think I do best. I love to make the impact. I love to have the opportunity to make the impact to the people's life that I come into contact with, and that is to be better me. Because when I better myself, then I can share with you my better me. That is my 2016 goal.
I think that's a good goal.
You think that's a good goal?
Sure.
So,
Very good.
I did ask for Tony to come back to answer Rocky question, but he didn't come back. Do anybody know what is the dimension for the car show for the Blab?
I
think that
don't.
1,640, but I don't know
Yeah,
for sure.
I know Tony knows the answer, and unfortunately he left before I realized that he was the one that knew. So, but we can get the answer from him, and maybe we can tweet that to Rocco or something.
Okay, we'll do. So let me stop the recording and then we can. Okay, so this is the end of 2015. I would like to take this opportunity to wish people, all my friends and the people who are attending our show today or listen to at the replays that you will have the best years of 2016 with good health, good fortune, and more than anything, I would like so much for the year 16 offer you the best that it can offer. So long for now.
Bye. Thanks.